Most product organizations today look successful from the outside. They ship consistently, they run clean sprints, they hit quarterly OKRs, they present polished dashboards to the board. Everything appears under control. But if you zoom out, if you step back from the sprint cadence, from the roadmap milestones, from the performance reports, a different question emerges. Are we actually building momentum? Or are we just moving fast? This is where the tension begins, because movement is visible, momentum is structural, movement is measurable, momentum is systemic, and most modern organizations have become exceptionally good at measuring movement. Let me make this a little bit uncomfortable. Later in this video, we will analyze two companies, WeWork and Quibi. Both looked unstoppable from the outside, and both collapsed. Two different industries, two different leadership teams, two different value propositions, same structural mistake. They optimized movement before validating direction. This confusion is subtle. Inside a company, it feels like progress. Velocity increases, release cycles shorten, KPIs improve. And no one asks the uncomfortable question, what system are we reinforcing? Because execution answers one question, how efficiently are we moving? Strategy answers a different one, should we be moving in this direction at all? If those two questions collapse into one, you don't get momentum. You get acceleration without alignment. And acceleration without alignment is expensive. Execution creates movement. Only strategy creates direction. And confusing the two is one of the most expensive and common mistakes in modern product leadership. Today, we separate them. I'm Sebastian, and I help organizations build lovable products through modern, evidence-based product and strategy techniques. If you want to create real value, not just output, you're in the right place. Most teams believe performance equals execution quality. If velocity increases, we're improving. If cycle time drops, we're optimizing. If the roadmap ships on time, we're succeeding. If OKRs are green, we're aligned. And to be clear, execution matters. Operational excellence is not optional. Discipline in delivery is not cosmetic. Efficiency compounds. But here is the paradigm shift. Execution answers one question. How efficiently are we moving? Strategy answers another. Should we be moving in this direction at all? That difference sounds philosophical. It is not. It is structural. Execution optimizes within a chosen path. Strategy chooses the path. Execution is local optimization. Strategy is systemic positioning. Let's walk through this carefully. Look at this matrix. The bottom left quadrant. Low efficiency, low coherence, is organizational chaos. Teams are slow, fragmented, reactive. No clarity, no discipline. Most companies don't survive long here. Now look at the bottom right quadrant. High efficiency, low coherence. This is where the real danger lives. Teams are fast, delivery is clean, KPIs look healthy, but initiatives don't reinforce each other. Features accumulate without compounding advantage. Capital allocation follows momentum, not positioning. This quadrant feels productive. It is not. It is optimized drift. Next, the top left quadrant, low efficiency, high coherence. This is strategic clarity without execution muscle. The direction is right, the thesis is sound, but the organization cannot operationalize it. Frustration dominates here. Finally, the top right quadrant, high efficiency, high coherence. This is rare. Here, execution reinforces positioning. Each release strengthens the model. Each initiative increases defensibility. Velocity compounds advantage instead of noise. This is where momentum emerges, not from speed alone, not from clarity alone, but from their alignment. Now here is the uncomfortable truth. Most modern product organizations live in the bottom right quadrant, high efficiency, low strategic coherence, and they don't realize it because internal metrics reward efficiency, dashboards celebrate throughput, performance reviews measure delivery reliability. No one measures systemic reinforcement. No one asks, does this initiative strengthen our position or just add output? This is not an intelligence problem. It is a measurement architecture problem. When your performance system is designed around delivery, you will optimize delivery. When capital allocation is incremental rather than thesis-driven, you will optimize activity. And activity feels like progress. Progress requires an external anchor, market positioning, unit economics, structural advantage, defensibility. Without that anchor, efficiency becomes dangerous because the better you get at executing, the faster you scale incoherence. Let me restate the shift clearly. Execution is about how well you move. Strategy is about why and where you move. Execution improves internal performance. Strategy defines external relevance. Execution can be measured weekly. Strategy must be validated over time. And here is the final reframing. An organization can be operationally world-class and strategically fragile at the same time. In fact, the more operationally efficient it becomes, the more fragile it becomes if coherence is missing. This is why separating execution from strategy is not academic. It is survival. And once you see this matrix, you start diagnosing companies differently, not by asking how fast are they shipping, but by asking what system are they reinforcing. The modern error is not incompetence. It is misattribution. We mistake activity metrics for strategic validation. Velocity equals impact. OKRs equals direction. Roadmaps equals business model. Let's examine this structurally. Most performance systems in product organizations are built around delivery instrumentation, sprint velocity, release frequency, story points completed, quarterly OKRs achieved. These are operational metrics. They answer, are we doing what we said we would do? But they do not answer, should we be doing this at all? When performance conversations center only on the left column, organizations generate activity, and activity feels like progress, but progress requires an external reference point, market positioning, unit economics, structural advantage, capital efficiency. Without that anchor, you get optimized noise. This pattern is not anecdotal. Research consistently shows that long-term outperformers behave differently. For example, McKinsey & Company in Strategy to Beat the Odds in 2018 demonstrates that companies reallocating resources dynamically towards strategic priorities outperform peers significantly over time, not because they execute faster, but because capital allocation reflects strategic intent. Similarly, Boston Consulting Group in the 2023 Value Creators Report highlights that sustained value creation correlates strongly with coherent portfolio management and disciplined investment theses, not with operational throughput alone. The pattern is clear. Execution metrics optimize activity. Strategic systems optimize allocation. When allocation logic is weak, execution excellence accelerates misallocation. Let's quickly analyze two cases. The first case, WeWork. WeWork was a global co-working company, expanding aggressively across major cities worldwide. Its execution capacity was extraordinary. Rapid lease acquisition, aggressive geographic rollout, brand-led expansion, kapitalbildning at scale. From an operational standpoint, it was impressive. But structurally, the model combined long-term fixed lease obligations with short-term flexible tenant agreements. That asymmetry was strategic fragility. Velocity amplified fragility. Each new location increased fixed exposure. Each expansion decision reinforced capital intensity. Each successful opening validated the expansion loop. Operationally. But economically? The system required continuous capital infusion to sustain growth. Execution scaled exposure faster than the model could absorb volatility. This is artificial momentum, movement without structural resilience. The second case, Quibi. Quibi was a mobile-first, premium short-form streaming platform backed by Hollywood veterans. Execution quality? High. Funding? Massive. $1.75 billion pre-launch. Technology? Polished. The roadmap was clear. Launch premium content. Drive mobile engagement. Monetize by a subscription and ads. But the strategic assumption was flawed, that consumers wanted high-budget, short-form content exclusively on mobile, behind a paywall. Behavior did not validate that thesis. The roadmap was coherent internally. The market logic was not. Execution optimized within a flawed premise. Speed accelerated irrelevance. This is the modern trap. Delivery validates effort. It does not validate direction. Now, let's make this even more uncomfortable. Many enterprises adopt frameworks like SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, to solve alignment. At the portfolio level, SAFe introduces strategic themes, portfolio epics, lean budgets, value streams, portfolio Kanban, participatory budgeting. In theory, this creates traceability. Strategic themes influence portfolio epics. Epics flow through portfolio Kanban. Approved epics receive lean funding. Funding allocated to value streams. Value streams deliver via arts. Art roadmaps align with OKRs and PI objectives. On paper, it connects strategy to execution. Technically, this is elegant. But here is the uncomfortable truth. You can implement SAFe perfectly and still lack strategy. Because SAFe does not generate strategic clarity. It operationalizes whatever strategic themes are defined. If strategic themes are vague, the system will efficiently distribute ambiguity. Lean budgets will fund loosely defined epics. Epics will cascade into features. Arts will deliver predictably. And dashboards will glow green. Execution frameworks amplify direction. They do not define it. Governance cannot replace strategic thinking. Portfolio Kanban cannot compensate for a weak business model. Participatory budgeting cannot fix incoherent capital allocation. If your strategic thesis is unclear, frameworks scale confusion. If your thesis is sound, frameworks accelerate compounding. The tool is neutral. The direction is not. And this is why the modern error is so persistent. Organizations adopt sophisticated delivery systems. They improve predictability. They improve throughput. They increase velocity. But they never interrogate the fundamental question: is our portfolio reinforcing a coherent system, or are we just optimizing inside an unstable model? Execution optimizes movement. strategy defines direction. And when the two are conflated, organizations build engines of activity, not engines of advantage. Now, layer AI on top of everything we just discussed. Because AI is not a marginal improvement, it is a structural accelerator. It compresses cycle time, it reduces experimentation cost, it lowers the barrier to feature production, it amplifies iteration speed. In other words, AI increases execution velocity dramatically. According to McKinsey & Company in the Economic Potential of Generative AI report from 2023, generative AI alone could add trillions in economic value annually, largely through productivity gains in knowledge work, product development, and customer operations. Productivity, acceleration, output expansion. But productivity is not strategy. Speed is not positioning. And here is the structural tension. When execution becomes cheaper and faster, the cost of strategic error increases, because you can now scale the wrong thing faster. If direction is unclear, AI compounds incoherence. If your value proposition is unstable, AI amplifies noise. If your capital allocation logic is weak, AI accelerates misallocation. AI does not fix strategic ambiguity. It magnifies it. And this is where many organizations are about to miscalculate. They invest in AI copilots. They automate engineering workflows. They deploy generative tools across marketing and product. Velocity increases. Roadmaps expand. Backlogs grow more ambitious. But the fundamental question remains untouched. What system are we reinforcing? In high-velocity environments, strategic clarity becomes more important, because acceleration without alignment is unstable. The future competitive advantage will not belong to the fastest teams. It will belong to the most directionally coherent systems operating at speed. Speed is a multiplier. Strategy determines what gets multiplied. Later in this channel, we'll evaluate how AI, when properly integrated into business model design and portfolio strategy, can genuinely enhance structural advantage, not just productivity. But for now, the principle is simple. AI increases movement. Only strategy defines direction. And when movement accelerates, direction matters exponentially more. So what does this mean for product managers and product leaders? It means your role is misdefined if it ends at roadmap delivery. You are not a backlog optimizer. You are a strategic translator. Here are 5 structural implications. Number 1, validate the business model, not just the feature. Every initiative should map to value creation logic, revenue logic, cost structure impact, and defensibility hypothesis. If you cannot articulate how a feature reinforces the economic engine, you are executing in isolation. Features are outputs, models are systems, and systems determine survival. Number 2, separate throughput metrics from strategic metrics. Throughput metrics measure operational health, velocity, cycle time, predictability, release frequency. Strategic metrics measure structural strength, retention curves, contribution margin, lifetime value, switching costs, network effects. When those categories blur, organizations mistake operational improvement for strategic progress. They are not the same. Number 3, think in systems, not in feature roadmaps. Strategy lives at the architectural level. Is capital flowing into reinforcing loops? Or are teams optimizing isolated initiatives? This distinction separates strong execution cultures from coherent business systems. Number 4, kill faster, but for strategic reasons. Stopping an initiative because velocity is low is operational. Stopping it because it does not strengthen positioning is strategic. The discipline to remove work that does not reinforce the model is more important than the discipline to ship fast. Number 5, build a reinforcing engine. Momentum does not come from output. It comes from reinforcing loops: product, data, learning, differentiation, pricing power. Now, let's analyze some positive contrast cases. The first one is Amazon. Amazon did not become dominant because it shipped features faster than everyone else. For decades, it prioritized systemic architecture, the flywheel model: lower prices, better customer experience, more traffic, more sellers, greater selection, lower cost structure, lower prices again. Each loop reinforced the loop. Then AWS, then Prime. Each layer strengthened the ecosystem. They did not optimize isolated products, they optimized the economic engine. Execution was strong, yes, but velocity mattered because it reinforced a coherent system. That is strategic momentum. The second case with positive contrast is Netflix. Netflix began as a DVD by mail company. Before streaming was mandatory, before bandwidth normalized, before competitors reacted, they pivoted. Not because of operational pressure, but because of strategic anticipation. Then they made a second structural decision: invest in original content. Not as a feature, as a defensive system. Owning content reduced dependency, it increased pricing power, it strengthened retention, it altered industry economics. Direction defined what to execute, not the other way around. The difference between companies that compound and companies that collapse is rarely execution quality alone. It is architectural coherence. Execution optimizes movement. Strategy defines direction. And momentum belongs to those who design reinforcing systems, not those who simply move fast. Execution feels productive. It feels calendars, it feels dashboards, it feels quarterly reviews. Strategy feels uncomfortable. It forces trade-offs, it exposes weak assumptions, it requires saying no, repeatedly. Execution gives you evidence of activity. Strategy forces you to confront reality. If your team disappeared tomorrow, would your business model still make structural sense? If your velocity doubled next quarter, would your economics improve or just your output? If your roadmap shipped perfectly for 12 months, would your competitive position strengthen? If those answers are unclear, you don't have an execution problem. You have a strategy problem. And no framework, no AI tool, no productivity system can compensate for directional ambiguity. Execution optimizes movement. Only strategy defines direction. And in high-velocity environments, direction is leverage. If this resonates, if you felt the tension between activity and advantage inside your organization, leave a comment. Where do you see execution being confused with strategy? And if you want deeper thinking on product architecture, business models, portfolio design, and how to build real momentum, not just output, subscribe to Business Momentum, because in the coming episodes, we're going to dismantle more of the assumptions that quietly undermine modern product leadership. Movement is easy. Designing direction is harder. That's the work.